Hello everyone, it's March. It's the month of March 2021 and you're watching Nikki, also known as Phase Trader. This is the Awesome10X Philippine Market Update. Let's begin. Alright, so the Philippine markets today actually got a good sign, a good bounce from Friday Wall Street because the market actually got in and resumed buying the bargains that was available in the market. Let's take a look at the Philippine markets. What exactly happened in our index? Well, in the last week, we weren't actually down and we just rallied again today, up 78 points. It's now up 1.15%. The Philippine Stock Index is now trading at 6,872.97. Let's take a look at the big names that went up for the markets. Starting with the index, you've got market value slow at about 7.7, very low, 7.77 billion pesos. But you've got 149 advancers and 76 decliners. A lot of the shares actually was up today with gainers like Ayala and Emperador, notching 9% for Emperador and 4% for Ayala Corporation. Let me read the slew of index price movements for the day. Your SM is 1025, your Ayala Corp is 780 pesos, your BDO climbed to 109.4, Ayala Land is now trading at 39.85, your Emperador is trading at 1088. Your Metro Bank is now trading at 51.6. Your URC is trading at 129.1. Mega World is 3.75. Your MPI is 4.16. Aboitiz Power is 25. Your San Miguel Corp is 128. FGen is 31. PLDT is now trading at 1297. Meralco is 274. ICT is 120.5. Your Pure Gold got bought up, now it's 37.5. Your Robinson's Land is now trading at 19.82. AGI is now trading at 10.8. DMC is 5.4. JG Summit is 64.45. Globe is 20.26. Robinson's Retail is 56.55. Your Jollibee is 178.8. Your Bloomberry 7.95. Your Aboitiz Equity Ventures 42. Security Bank 130. GD Capital is 555, your SM Prime is 3605, Lucio Tan Group 1382, and BPI is now trading at 87.3. You could see that the Philippine market actually got bargain hunted for the last 2 days already. So today is also another day that there's bargain hunting in the markets. Let's take a look at your stats today. Analytics first. Top traded names. All right. So your Dito Telecom continues to get a slew of selling, now trading at 16.12. Your LR warrants is now up 40 cents to about 2.4. Your FES is up 1 centavo, 57 cents. Your BDO Metro Bank trading at 109.51. Your FI is now trading at 292. Your Lodestar is 178. Your ASEN is 7.3. Bull is 311. Back from its drop. Your ICD is now trading at about 120 peso. SM is 1025. URC is 129. Your green energy continues to rise. You're about 4.82. APL is 0.255. Jollibee is 179. We could tell from the market itself that the non-index names are actually still being traded by the markets, and as well as some index names. So you've got a slew of more buyers today on your non-index names. We'll take a look at the ones that rallied a lot, like Vol and your Vol, your Green. Yeah, very strong movements for those two. Okay, let's take a look at the top gainers for the day with volume. You could see that with volume, your BKR 44 million pesos, 25% up. Your LR warrants 200 million pesos, 20% up. You've got this as well about Vol and ATN rising 13% and 11%. So other than that, the rest seem to be very low liquidity, very low volume, but still it's also good to see that your DWC was able to rally from below 5, now trading at 564. Take a look at some non-index movers today. Let's just take a look at your charts. So your worst losers for the day, you've got loser MEH down 6%. What else is down? You've got CLI down 2.5%. Other than that, what's this? BPI down 2%. Other than that, very low volume, very low values being sold down in the markets. Your Maxis is down big, but it's just 5 million pesos. Here at about 6 pesos 37 cents. All right. Your SSP is also down 3%. here at about 1.49. However, it's just 4 million pesos, selling it on the downside. So you might actually see some of the drops today to actually be potential buys if you think that the drops are actually appetizing to buy. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at the big movers. Okay. ABS, material information and transaction. Green, you've got material information transactions. Take a look at these. 5 minutes ago, your ABS says here that execution of term sheet relative to the acquisition of shares in UPay Digital Technologies Inc. ABS, CBN, and Greenergy and iBuyad Online Ventures Inc. executed today a legally binding term sheet for the acquisition of Greenergy Holdings Incorporated of 51 million fully paid common shares of UPay Digital Technologies Inc. from CBN, which will result in JHI owning 51% of the outstanding capital stock of UPay, the transaction. Under the execution of the definitive agreements, JHI is given 45 days from execution of the term sheet. UPay is a fintech engaged in the business of customer and merchant, e-wallets, money services, and other related services, operating a platform, therefore, as well as advertising, producing, distributing, marketing products and services that are connected to the operation of the said business. It has a Type C e-money issuer license issued by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas and duly registered to operate as a remittance and transfer company. So there is an execution between ABS and Greenergy for this fintech. Take a look as well what Greenergy had to say about this. All right. So Greenergy also said the same thing, that they are acquiring this UPay. Okay, so it's a partnership between the two. Take a look on both shares. So you've seen actually Greenergy rally further. That's why there's this huge move. From about 245, it was continuous here about 480 in the last 5 years. Now trading still at mostly at the all-time highs. So your Greenergy, let's take a look at this. Very strong movement. Market cap is now trading at 8.7 billion pesos and continuous run-up. So there are these people who got the shares below 3. Now they're up about 60% here, about 4.8. There's still a steep curve here, so we can't really determine how high this can go. Can go all-time higher at about 6 pesos. But from the looks of it, it's also possible that 6 is your first resistance. Not easy to detect, but usually the people who got in about 3 might actually unload at 100% higher and then let their winners run. Similarly, the people who got in, perhaps in the last few days, you could see that some people probably bought in more Greenergy shares. Here at about 4 pesos are also likely to take some profits off at about 6 pesos. But congrats to those who have Greenergy. Very strong movement here, and let's see how high this goes. Very strong volumes as well. So Greenergy in the last couple of weeks has already been trading and trending, nearing all-time highs. Oh, sorry, it's not near all-time highs. It's just in the last, I don't know, this is about 17-year high. So about 2001, apparently Greenergy even traded as high as 9 to 10 pesos. But I would assume that in the last 10 to 20 years, most of the people's costs are below 3. And so they might actually sell 6 to 10. And then those who got in below 3 are just holding their positions. Very strong movements here. And very strong buyer set here that are actually profitable. So whether it goes higher, 6 all the way to 10 is also possible. Now let's take a look at the ABS CDN on this deal. ABS shares are now trading at 12.7. Take note though that ABS CBN has had a strong drop from about 70 pesos all the way to 4 pesos with the onset of the loss of their franchise. And right now it's just still being pursued to get a renewal. So take a look at the ABS CDN chart here. Your ABS CDN shares are now trading at about 12.7. You can see that some people are willing to buy the shares up, but very small volume yet. So it could go higher. Some people might actually just be beginning to nibble and nibble. So I'd say that there are still some buyers for your ABS CBN trading at about 12 all the way to about 13 pesos here. So you've got that slew buyer, and then of course you've got some sellers situated here at about 19, and all the way here at about 21, and also here first at about 16. So you still have that reversal pattern for your ABS, but it's just a little bit slower than your Greenergy. Okay, let's take a look at some more news happening. MWAD an hour ago, material information sent transaction. Let's take a look at this news. Megawatt increases the company's authorized capital by 26 million shares for non-voting, non-participating perpetual preferred shares to about 5 billion and 80 million pesos. They're setting a shareholder stock meeting in on May 11, 2021, and also an authority to accept the subscription of Citicorp Holdings of such increase for a total million of 6,500,000 preferred shares. Another private placement is also offered of up to 40 million shares consisting one or more sub-series. So Megawatt still is in the raising money efforts, and so we're seeing perhaps the people in the MWide might actually be thinking of getting themselves. So I think that if you don't purchase, however, those are convertibles that are dilutive. So there are some people who are forced to probably buy into the markets because of these convertibles. Convertibles are similar to what's happening in your Cebu Pacific. Those people who have shares on Cebu Pacific are offered the right to get into the SEB non-convertible preferred shares at about strike price of 38 pesos. And so it's actually more of that. So most likely it's the same thing for MY. You're trying to raise some money. It's still in a money raising effort. So I'd say that there's still that chart below 8 pesos as your resistance for your MY. All right, so let's take a look. Of course, MY suffered with the airports also because NAIA Airport had, but there's that delays. There was the news on that. MY, NAIA, News, Rehab. So I think that Cebu business groups are backing Megawatt's proven track record. That was December. So there was a revoke on December 15. Talks were failing again. So the government were dumping Megawatt. And then they probably talk again. So Billionaires said, Puro laway kasi. Megawatt says it has lost original proponent. MIAA board shuts the door to Megawatt's NAIA rehabilitation. And then, so it's really more of a volatility amongst investors about Megawatt's NAIA rehabilitation bid. Okay, let's take a look more on other news here. Century Pacific is cutting the Tuna plant's water consumption by 30%. All right, let's read that. Ayala Land clarification of news reports. SEB stock rights offering. Indeed, this SEB stock rights offering is March 3. Let's take a look as well on these press releases. Okay, so around March, you've got companies reporting earnings or raising money through bonds. Century Properties Group is now offering 3 billion pesos of bonds for retail bond markets. And then it says here that they are using PDEX, Philippine Dealing and Exchange Corporation. This will be 3 years, unsecured peso-denominated fixed-rate retail bonds at a coupon rate of about 4.85% per annum. This was well received by investors and even exercised the 1 billion peso oversubscription option from a base size of 2 billion. The CFO, Mr. Ponciano Carrion, said that significant interest in the offering moved the pricing at the tighter end of the marketing spread range. We at Century Properties Group thank our institutional and retail investors, transaction parties, working group, and stakeholders for their continued trust in the company, said CPG President Mr. Marco and CEO Marco Antonio, about where CPG is creating new generation real estate that is responsive to the needs of the times. So they tapped China Bank for the issues of these bonds. All right, so that's a positive thing for CPG. Let's try to think, let's take a look at what CPG shares right now are trading at based on the news. So CPG shares continue to slumber here at about 41 cents. However, we have the opinion that maybe that is a support area even at 38 cents. So you've got this slew of potential buyers who accumulated at 35 to 38. And some people might actually think that the properties, while cyclical, while very in a difficult moment, is actually going to recover in the next 1 to 3 years' time. So there might be people who are willing to buy not just the bonds, but also the equity. And here at about 38 cents to 35 cents, we'll take a look at whether it rallies, but really strong resistance here at about 49 cents. So it could be just a simple 6-month trading range or even a 12-month trading range for your CPG. So the best news perhaps and best trending name so far would still be Greenergy. Cebu Air here is sharing that stock rights offering. So the stock rights offering is entitled to all the shareholders. That would mean that all the shareholders will have that 1:1.812 offer of the sale subscription to be listed as convertible preferred shares in the Philippine Stock Exchange. So you will have SEBREF, something like CPREF, or maybe it's called SEBREF. I don't know the ticker symbol. But the offering is to allow all the shareholders with a right of 38 pesos to exercise that. The start of the offer is on March 3, and the end of the offer is March 9, 2021. All right, so what else? Ayala Land, the last news here. Ayala Land is wrapping up the 2021 CapEx. Says here that Ayala Land continues to support the launch of 100 billion pesos worth of projects this year. They're optimistic about recovery amidst the pandemic, and they said, Mr. Bobby D, the CEO, said the company is spending 88 billion pesos in 2021. Our goal is to start our V-shaped recovery. It will take us 2 to 3 years to bring Ayala back to its performance in 2019, but we will set the stage for growth levels that we have experienced in the past. Bulk of this year's CapEx will expand residential developments, land acquisition, real estate development. 6% will be for malls, 5% for office, 3% for hotels and resorts, and another 3% for other projects. So they're really focused mostly on land acquisition and expanding their residential development. So housing, because you're staying at home, you're likely gonna buy a home someday in the future. Last but not the least, I forgot this. Century Pacific is cutting their tuna plant's water consumption by 30%. That would be a good thing for Century Tuna because this is a cost in their tuna business. It designed a thawing method, decreasing the plant's water use by half. The measure is a water reduction project conserving 660 million liters of water annually. And Century Tuna is produced in their manufacturing plant in General Santos, consuming a total of 2.2 billion liters of water in 2019, used for thawing frozen tuna. So in line with our commitment to a sustainable and responsible company, we're taking the necessary steps to improve our natural resource, which is our precious water, to combat the pandemic via health and hygiene practices. We continue to look for ways to continue our strategic and accelerate our initiatives to protecting the environment. Century is also using a 4.5 megawatt solar project in General Santos to source almost 15% of its overall power needs through renewable energy. It's also partnered with Plastic Credit Exchange, continuing its 100% plastic neutral initiative, Century Pacific said. They are the maker of Century Tuna, 555, Argentina, Swift, Angel, and First Tree brands. Good work for CNPF. Let's take a look at how the markets actually reacted on this news. Century Pacific is still trading here about 17.6, but it looks like the market is able to see that Century Pacific is a resilient company, a consumer staple similar to your URCs. And a lot of buyers are residing here at about 16 peso below. So there's a lot of people who are still in a trading range for your Century Pacific. Very clearly, you've got a trading range at about 14 all the way to 19. But so far, we'll just see whether the market will appreciate all the efforts that Century Pacific is doing for their company. A while ago, I showed to you that Maxis was going down. However, that 637 looks to be more of an opportunity to enter here. Very low volume. So you're seeing that Maxis is trading right in a range 6 all the way to 7, 8 pesos. So it's still in a trading range. You've got these buyers at about 5. There's a higher low. So it's just stuck there. Okay, now I'm going to go to your questions very fast. 5 minutes only for questions, if any. Hi, Nikki. March na, nag-vlog ka ba sa DDMP REITs? I have vlogged about Double Dragon REITs last year. Probably just search it on there. But actually, for me, all the REITs are just 5% coupon bonds. So you notice that Century Pacific was able to get about 4.87%. So I think the TD REITs are also good for people who are looking to replace some of their time deposits to some of the real estate investment trusts. Hi, Nikki. What do you usually trade? The index range? Which index stocks are good for the short term? In the Philippine market, I do like the reopening themes, even if they're a little bit slower. So reopening theme beneficiaries in the Philippine market would continue to still be your airlines. Perhaps some of your supermarkets are very defensive. Your banks and properties are really the biggest in your portfolio in the Philippine market. So that would always be your Ayala lands. However, like the Ayala land is best to trade within a specific range. So it's very clear that your Ayala land here at about 40 pesos looks to be very toppish in my view, despite all the efforts. And I know that they're very good company. However, I'd say that Ayala land, I'll be preferring to buy it below 30 pesos for better comfort. Now, if it doesn't happen there, I'm also of the opinion that it's okay. Now, of course, property-wise, if your Ayala land's doing that, your SM Prime and your Meg, however, your SM Prime, I'd rather really wait at about 33. So I'm really just more of a wait and see in the markets. If it doesn't go down low, then I'm not that interested to buy. As for the consumer names, you could see that the retail areas really got hammered these past few weeks and months. And so I think the Robinson's retail here about 56 should be fine. Your SEB here at about 45 below should be fine, even if you got in at about 39, 38. These might actually be opportunities. Your Macro Asia, which is a reopening play, is also a good entry at about 550 below. I'd say that the people who like to play the secular trends would like to get some Nicolasia below 5 pesos. Of course, your previous high was 5 pesos, which is now trading as your higher low support. I'd still say that I don't trade a lot, so I would rather just buy and keep. However, so I guess some traders have been trading these types of names like Vol. They bought it at 1. They probably bought it today at about 2.7, seeing that movement today. So you got a pullback, and then this is a good move. I mean, from a technical standpoint, I think that there are some people who would buy this pullback, although I'm not quite sure if it rallies about 3.7 or 3.8. But from a chart perspective, Vol looks to be okay. I'm not quite sure about most of the charts, but so you've seen volumes picking up on your ABA. You could see that there was a clear breakout here, about 88 cents. So we noticed that there was a clear breakout on your vol at about 1 peso, and it's now trading at 3 peso, meaning it's 3x from 1. Will ABA here at about 1 peso below actually trigger a $2 to $3 move? All I could say is that so far the volume has been going up in the last couple of months, and usually when you have that couple of months of volume increase, perhaps more traders are actually trading these names. So that's it. All right. Hope that you've enjoyed your session. This is Awesome10X signing out. Bye-bye.